Good morning, student. So we have discussed about the primary open angle glaucoma, angle closure glaucoma, and today we will be discussing about the secondary glaucoma. So secondary glaucoma can be open angle glaucoma, can be angle closure glaucoma. So we will discuss a few common things, causes of secondary open angle glaucoma and angle closure glaucoma in detail, and the remaining just the name for you. So how we classify it? Depending upon the mechanism of rise in intraocular pressure, secondary open angle glaucoma in which aqueous outflow may be blocked by pretrabecular membrane, trabecular clogging, edema, and scarring or elevated episcleral venous pressure. So open angle glaucoma, due to the several cause in the trabecular mesh box, will lead to the secondary glaucoma, and secondary angle closure glaucoma, which may or may not be associated with pupillary block. So depending upon the causative primary disease, secondary glaucoma are named as follows. So we have divided according to the cause, and it will be very easy for you to understand and to remember also. Like lens-induced glaucoma, which is the most common cause of the secondary glaucoma, which occupies about 22% of all the secondary glaucoma, and which is also called the phacogenic. So the name itself, the phacogenic glaucoma, is a lens-induced glaucoma. So this lens-induced glaucoma can also be the open angle glaucoma and angle closure glaucoma, which we will discuss in the coming slides. So inflammatory glaucoma, that is glaucoma due to intraocular inflammations, pigmentary glaucoma, neovascular glaucoma, glaucoma associated with iris corneal endothelial syndrome, exfoliation glaucoma, glaucoma associated with intraocular hemorrhage, steroid-induced glaucoma, traumatic glaucoma, glaucoma in aphakia, and glaucoma associated with intraocular tumors. So any of these cause can either narrow the angle, or it can cause a pushing or pulling mechanism to cause the glaucoma. So this is one of the features of the lens-induced glaucoma, where you can see the redness of the conjunctiva along with the corneal edema, and see the lens. It is cataract, and cataract is there, and you can see the bulging of the lens. So this is a phacomorphic glaucoma. So lens-induced glaucoma can be phacomorphic, phacolytic. So phacomorphic glaucoma is a swollen cataractous lens causing the pupillary block. Peripheral iris push forward. It is usually present as a congestive glaucoma. So acute congestive glaucoma, it is very difficult to differentiate it from the primary angle closure, that is the acute congestive glaucoma state in phacomorphic glaucoma. Except you see the anterior chamber shallow, which is under the slit lamp. Other features and the lens, which is edematous, other features are similar. So the features are like that of the acute congestive glaucoma. So I think you all remember what are the features of the acute congestive glaucoma. That is red eye with marked diminution of vision, and patient complain of headache, vomiting, and when you see, you will see the lid edematous, conjunctival congestion, ciliary congestion, cornea will be edematous, and anterior chamber will be shallow, pupil will be dilated, fixed, and non-reacting, and the posterior segment you will not be able to see because of the media hazy. So later on, subsequently, after the treatment, in the next follow-up, you will be able to see the fundus. And the management is same as that of the acute congestive glaucoma in the initial period, and medical management to open angle and to lower the IOP, and then we go for the surgery as the lens extraction. So if immediate surgery is not possible, we will go for the laser iridotomy. So phacolytic glaucoma is a lens protein glaucoma. So it's a phacomorphic glaucoma is an angle closer glaucoma, whereas phacolytic glaucoma is the secondary open angle glaucoma. Over here, the sequestrated lens protein with age and development of cataract altered the composition with heavier molecular weight. So if this soluble molecules leaks through an intact capsule, they obstruct the trabecular basework. So what happens, this lens protein or lens particles which leaks through the intact capsule. Over here, the capsule of the lens, the anterior capsule or a posterior capsule of the lens is intact, but these molecules leaks through it and they will obstruct the trabecular basework. The lens protein also stimulate inflammation, release the macrophages which engulfs the lens protein, and thus the complex obstruct the outflow channel. So what happens over here is this molecule itself will block the trabecular basework, and other forms are the lens protein which will causes the inflammations, and also the macrophages where they can also block separately, or this macrophages which engulfs the lens protein, they forms a complex that also blocks the outflow channels. So there are no heavy molecular weight proteins in the children. So there is no phacolytic glaucoma in case of children. Though there is a cataract, there is no phacolytic glaucoma in case of children. So this is very important point, why there is no phacolytic glaucoma in case of children. So phacolytic glaucoma, if you will see the trabecular basework, the macrophages clogging the trabecular basework over here, and you can see this in case of the, especially in the hypermature cataract. Whereas in case of immature cataract, you will see the secondary phacomorphic glaucoma, that is angle closer glaucoma. Whereas in case of matured and hypermature, almost hypermature cataract, you will see the this glaucoma, phacolytic glaucoma. So is your lens covered? If it is not, again we will discuss when we will discuss the lens. This is a hypermature cataract. So IOP elevation and inflammation is reduced by medical therapy followed by the cataract extraction. So the treatment modalities is same. We will decrease the intraocular pressure and we go for the cataract surgery. However, anterior capsular access may be performed by the venous scissor. So there is one instrument which you will discuss in the practical section. So the venous scissor, with the help of that, we will do the capsulotomy, because it is the capsulotomy is very difficult because it will run away and it can even cause the posterior capsule tear. And lens delivery and a radial cortical aspiration is performed in a delicate manner. So we even wash the cortical matter. If not, then we put a viscoelastic and removed it. Lens particle glaucoma. So other type of the open angle glaucoma is the disruptions of the lens capsule by the penetrating trauma or surgery liberates the lens material which obstruct the trabecular basework. So this is also a secondary open angle glaucoma. So following the surgery or even following the trauma, that this lens material can obstruct the trabecular basework. So the resulting glaucoma depends on the amount of the lens material liberated, inflammatory response of the eye, and the ability of the trabecular meshwork to clear the foreign material. So in all type of the cases, there may not be the glaucoma. Even some amount of the lens material is liberated. So it depends upon the how much amount of the lens is liberated, how much amount of the inflammatory reactions in that eye, or the ability, how much is the ability of the trabecular meshwork to clear the foreign material. So this all things results to the glaucoma. So the treatment is similar to that of the phacolytic glaucoma, but the surgery has to be performed early to avoid the posterior segment complications. So lens particles glaucoma, you can see in the slit lamp like this. So this is this first one is of the cornea, and this black one is of the anterior chamber, and this pupil over here you will see the lens. So you can see the lens particles all over the anterior segment like this. Glaucoma associated with the phacogenic uveitis. So following the lens inflammation, there can be the uveitis. So in this condition, the IOP is raised due to the inflammatory reactions of the uveal tissue excited by the lens material. So basically, it is also the type of secondary open-angle glaucoma where trabecular meshwork is clogged by both the inflammatory cells and the lens particle. Management consists of medical therapy to lower the IOP, and the treatment of the iridocyclitis is same which we have discussed, or I think we have not taught to you. We will come in the following section with the steroids and cycloplegic. And irrigation and aspirations of the lens matter from the anterior chamber, if required, should always be done after the proper control of the inflammation. So glaucoma associated with phacoanaphylaxis. In this condition, there occurs a fulminating acute inflammatory reaction to the antigen antibody reaction. So the lens protein over here, it acts as an antigen. And the mechanism of the rise in IOP is, and its management is similar to that of the phacogenic uveitis. So glaucoma, which is very important in case of the uveitis, is also the one of the complications of the uveitis. So which you have to know. The IOP can be raised by various mechanisms in the inflammation of the uveal tissue iridocyclitis. So even if other ocular inflammations such as keratitis and scleritis, the rise in IOP is usually due to secondary involvement of the anterior uveal tract. So this we will discuss about the glaucoma. There are several causes, 5 causes I think, and it is nicely written in Purana also. We will discuss in the uveitis section. So when eye is uveitic, you will see the posterior synechia in the what is posterior synechia? It is the adhesions of the lens with the iris. So like this irregular pupil you can see. So there are several types like glaucoma with active uveitis, with post-inflammatory glaucoma, or specific hypertensive uveitic syndrome. So uveitis, glaucoma with active uveitis, it is a condition wherein acute inflammation of anterior uveal tract is associated with rise in intraocular pressure. So mechanism of secondary open angle glaucoma is due to trabecular clogging, which can be due to any things like inflammatory cells, exudates, or torbid, even the torbid aqueous itself, or trabecular edema due to associated trabeculitis, or prostaglandin induced rise in intraocular pressure. So this is especially the common things which happens in case of the uveitis. Management it includes the treatment of the iridocyclitis with medical therapy to lower, and also anti-glaucoma medication to lower the IOP by the use of hyperosmotic agent, acetazolamide, or beta blocker eye drop. But there are certain drugs which are contraindicated in the uveitis. Post-inflammatory glaucoma, it is IOP is raised due to the after effect of the iridocyclitis, like mechanism of rise in IOP. This includes a pupillary block due to the annular synechia or occlusal pupillae. Secondary ankylosing glaucoma with pupillary block following the iris Bombay formation, and secondary ankylosing without pupillary block due to organizations of the inflammatory debris in the angle. So these are the secondary ankylosing glaucoma cause. Whereas previously it was glaucoma in open angle glaucoma, whereas secondary open angle glaucoma, whereas in the same uveitis, secondary angle closure can occur due to this mechanism. And treatment is same as that of the acute iridocyclitis, should be treated analgetically with a local steroid, atropine to prevent the formation of synechia, and medical therapy to lower the IOP. And if the synechia is not broken down, so we will do some other methods, and surgical and laser iridectomy in case of pupillary block, and even filtering surgery in guarded prognosis. Specific hypertensive uveitic syndrome like Fuchs uveitic syndrome or glaucomatocyclitis crisis. So you just know the name. Other cause of the open angle, secondary open angle glaucoma is pigmentary glaucoma, wherein the clogging of the trabecular mesophoque occurs by the pigment particles. About 50% of the patient with the pigment dispersion syndrome develop glaucoma. So some people have got the pigment itself in the basement membrane. So these type of people, 50% of these type of pigmentary dispersion patient or people who can develop into glaucoma. So exact mechanism of the pigment shedding is not known. It is believed that pigment release is caused by the mechanical robbing of the posterior pigment layer of the iris with the jonular fibrils. So it is thought that it's due to the mechanical robbing. So it is characterized by the release of the pigment particles from the pigment epithelium of the iris. So these particles are carried by aqueous humor, convection current, and then deposited on the varieties of the tissues in the anterior segment of the eye. So how these pigments are deposited? It is said that these particles are carried by the aqueous humor. This is very important. This will be asked to you in your viva. What is the mechanism? So this aqueous humor by the conventional current mechanism, it is deposited in the different tissues of the anterior segment of the eye in the angle structure, and which can lead to glaucoma. So the condition is typically occurs in the young myopic males, and it is characterized by the depositions of the pigment granules in the anterior segment structure such as the iris, posterior surface of the cornea, which is called the Kuchenberg spindles, which looks like the capes, but these capes, keratic precipitate, which you will see in the endothelium of the cornea, but it will see in the throughout the endothelium, but it is the spindle shape. Trabecular mesophoque, ciliary zonules, and the crystalline lens. So all the structure having the basement membrane. And gonioscopy shows the pigment accumulation along the Solvay's line, and which is also called, the term especially is given, which is called the Sampolsky line, and this can be asked to you in a MCQ also. And iris transillumination defect in the mid periphery you will see, and treatment is exactly in the line of the primary open angle glaucoma. So it has no difference. Neovascular glaucoma is the ischemia of the retina, causes the liberations of the various angiogenic factors, and which diffuse forward into the anterior chamber and cause a new vessels formation on iris and angle structure. So new vessels glaucoma occurs in 3 stages, that is the pre-glaucomatous stage, which is also called the rubeosis iridis, that is in the iris only you will see the new vessels, that is the pre-glaucomatous stage. Here you may not find the glaucoma. And secondly, the open angle glaucoma stage where there is a formation of pre-trabecular neovascular membrane. And secondary, there will be the angle closure glaucoma due to the goniosynechiae resulting in contraction of neovascular membrane. So complete angle closure occurs. So these are the new vessels in the iris. You can see it. And this is the angle structure showing the new vessels, and even the new vessels. After that, you will see the hyphema formation over here. The prognosis of the neovascular glaucoma is poor. Prevention and early diagnosis is desirable, but it is very difficult once the patient develops the neovascular glaucoma. Even after the rapid follow-up, or even after seeing the patient regularly, the patient deteriorates and the vision is ultimately into the end stage. So the medical management is temporizing measures till more definite surgery or laser treatment is undertaken, and beta blocker, calcium channel antagonist, cycloplegic, and steroid to reduce the inflammation. As the most common cause in ischemic retinopathy, retinal ablation should be performed whenever possible. Treatment is with pan-retinal photocoagulation. So, filtering surgery with the anti-metabolites has been shown to increase the success rate of the decrease and final IOP. So, the drainage device has also been recommended, and in this therapy phase, either endoscopic or transscleral photocoagulation, or less often, the cyclocryo may help to reduce the IOP. So, glaucoma associated with intraocular tumors. Secondary glaucoma due to intraocular tumors such as malignant melanoma and retinoblastoma may occur one or more of the following mechanisms. So either the trabecular is blocked due to clogging by the tumor cells, or by direct invasions by the tumor seedings, or neovascularization of the angle, or venous stasis following the obstructions of vortex vein. So forward displacement of the lens iris diaphragm by increasing tumor mass, or inoculations of the eyeball should be carried out as early as possible. In case of the tumors, so intraocular tumors can also cause the secondary open angle glaucoma, secondary angle closure glaucoma. So by these various mechanisms, by the four mechanisms given here, you can have a angle closure or open angle glaucoma. So this is the other term for the pseudo exfoliation glaucoma, that is which is also called the glaucoma capsular. So it is a secondary open angle glaucoma. So by this time, when it is open angle glaucoma, you have to remember in your mind that what are the open angle glaucoma primary, what are the symptoms or sign of the primary open angle glaucoma. So over here you can see the pseudo exfoliative material. So in the other features are same as that of the primary open angle glaucoma. Patient will not have pain, vision will not that much deteriorate, but you will see the all the visual field changes, and you will see the other changes in the optic disc or visual field, and IOP may be normal or it can be high. So its other features are same as that of the POAC, and even treatment is also same as that of the POAC, but only while doing the cataract surgery it is very difficult over here in case of pseudo exfoliation. So pseudoexfoliative syndrome is characterized by deposition of an amorphous gray dandruff-like material on the pupillary border, anterior lens surface, posterior surface of the iris, zonules, and ciliary process. So you will see this dandruff-like material in these structures. So usually which we will see under the slit lamp also, we will see the same things on the anterior lens capsule. We will see this dandruff like material, then we will say that it is a pseudoexfoliative glaucoma or pseudoexfoliation syndrome. And 50% of this will have a secondary open angle glaucoma. So the condition, the exact source of the exfoliating material is still not known. The condition is associated with secondary open angle glaucoma in about 50% of the cases, and trabecular blockage by the exfoliating material is a probable cause for the glaucoma, and treatment is like that of the POAC. So 50% of the pseudoexfoliative syndrome people will have the glaucoma. So all the pseudoexfoliative people which we will see under the slit lamp, and if we have examined for some other regions, if we have seen the pseudoexfoliation patient, then we will do the glaucoma examination also. So this type of pseudoexfoliative material you will see in the anterior lens capsule, and we will say that this is a pseudoexfoliative syndrome. This is in the pupillary margin, in the anterior capsule. Steroid-induced glaucoma is also a very important section for you. So it is a type of secondary open-angle glaucoma which develop following the topical and sometimes the systemic steroid therapy. And idiopathogenesis is the precise mechanism responsible for the obstructions to the aqueous outflow is unknown. The most accepted view is depositions of mucopolysaccharides in the trabecular meshwork, and it has been postulated that the response of IOP to steroid is genetically determined. So steroid-induced glaucoma also, I think it's given in Khurana. You can read the mechanism over there also. So its most accepted view is that depositions of the mucopolysaccharides in a trabecular meshwork. There are 4-5 regions. And frequently we use the steroids, and whenever we use the steroid, the IOP must be measured. And the other thing given is that it is roughly 5% of the general population is high steroid responder. So immediately you give 1 or 2 drops of the IOP in those people, they will have the increase in intraocular pressure and develop marked rise of IOP after about 6 weeks of steroid therapy. And 35% have moderate steroid responder, and 60% are non-steroid responders. So always while giving the steroid, we have to think that it can be the 5% of the steroids responder, and 60% are non-steroid responders. So steroid-induced glaucoma typically resembles the POAC, and it's usually developed following the weeks or topical steroid with strong steroid and month after the therapy with the weak steroid. So many books says that with this weak steroid there will not be increase of the intraocular pressure, but we have documented that there is an increase of the intraocular pressure. So we, by the judicious use of the steroid and regular monitoring of the intraocular pressure, we have to go through it. Traumatic. So following the trauma also, traumatic may develop the secondary glaucoma. So there are various causes following the trauma, like inflammatory glaucoma due to iridocyclitis, glaucoma due to intraocular hemorrhage. So lens-induced glaucoma due to rupture, swollen or dislocated lens, adherent leucoma in the late stage with the peripheral anterior synechia formation, or epithelial or fibrous ingrowth in the late stage, or angle recessions due to the disruptions of trabecular meshwork followed by the fibrosis. So any mechanism can occur lead to the following glaucoma, and this is a hyphema and glaucoma associated with the intraocular hemorrhage. So there are various causes of the hemorrhage like hyphema, vitreous hemorrhage. So there can be the red cells glaucoma following the trauma which blockages the trabecular meshwork by the RBC in case of the massive hyphema. So there can be associated with pupillary block due to the blood clot, or blood stain of the cornea can develop if the IOP is not lowered within the few days. It can be a hemolytic glaucoma, so which can be acute open angle glaucoma by the obstructions of the trabecular meshwork by the macrophages laden by lysed RBC. Ghost cells glaucoma, which is also the important things, it is types of secondary open angle glaucoma which occurs in aphakic eyes with vitreous hemorrhage. So after about 2 weeks of the hemorrhage, the RBC degenerate and lost their pliability and becomes some khaki color, ghost cells. So that is why it is called the ghost cells, which pass from the vitreous into the anterior chamber and block the course of the trabecula, leading to increased intraocular pressure. So previously we used to guess the ghost cells glaucoma in case of aphakic eyes. So nowadays we do not get this case, but even in case of the trauma, we can get this case or following the retinal surgery. So see the haziness of the cornea and hemosiderotic glaucoma, which is a very rare and it's secondary glaucoma due to the sclerotic change in the trabecular meshwork, and iron from the phagocyte hemoglobin by the endothelial cells of the trabeculum. So glaucoma associated with the iridocorneoendothelial syndrome. So iridocorneoendothelial syndrome, it's a different entity. It consists of 3 clinical things like progressive iris atrophy is there, Chandler's syndrome, and Coggins-Rich syndrome. So the common features of the IC syndrome is presence of abnormal cornea is there, which proliferates to form the endothelial cell, which proliferates to the endothelial membrane in the angle of the anterior chamber. So the glaucoma can be due to the secondary synechial angle closure glaucoma. So this is different rare things which you may not know, and it is usually if a child comes to us, then we suspect of this IC syndrome if they have got the iris atrophy or hazy cornea or increased intraocular pressure. So other causes, others are a very important cause of the secondary glaucoma, like traumatic glaucoma, uveitic glaucoma, steroid-induced glaucoma, lens-induced glaucoma. So these are very, very important the secondary cause of the glaucoma. So by this, I would like to conclude the secondary glaucoma. In the next class, I will discuss about the management of the glaucoma. That is, I will discuss anti-glaucoma medication and how you will give the anti-glaucoma medication. So thank you all, and please go to the topic.